synopsis of how did you get where you are today? How'd you get in?
Yeah, mine's kind of one of those, it's a sad story to most people. To me, it was the greatest education I got, I've ever been given. And it was really just because the original owner of AmeriFirst didn't treat me the way I should have been treated. So my background, I started here in 1998 as a loan officer assistant, believe it or not. And I was helping a gentleman who was an amazing salesperson. His bad months were 50 units. His biggest month I saw with him, he did 139. So just an absolute monster producer. On top of helping him, the owner required me to close 30 loans a month of my own. And for that, he paid me $10 an hour. My first month, I only closed 23 loans, and I was fearful I was getting fired. I remember going in and begging for my job, telling him, don't worry, I'll do 30 next month. I've already got them lined up. Just give me time. Did not know that was a lot of loans. After my second month, I went to the owner because I really didn't enjoy the loan officer assistant position. And I said, well, how many loans a month would I have to do to just be my own loan officer? And he told me if I could do 50 loans a month for 6 months in a row, that at that point, not only would I be my own loan officer, but that he'd give me a raise from $10 an hour to $15 an
hour. Are you serious?
Yeah, dead serious. It took me 7 months to reach that. And so at that point, I got a 50% raise, which, by the way, I thought was fantastic. I didn't know that was a lot of loans because, remember, the person I sat around, 50 loans was his bad months. So I was born into greatness in it only in that no one told me any different. And I will be forever grateful that was the way I was brought in the mortgage business. This was never going to be a career for me, though. I did this just to finish college. My father was the office manager of the company at the time. And when I came in to resign after I graduated, the owner told me that if I left, he was shutting the company down. My father would lose his job. And that was the first day I took the mortgage industry seriously. I made one phone call. I heard about commission. My eyes got about this big. I was actually on my way. I'd just been given an offer to go work for the Secret Service. And so I was leaving a $15 an hour job to get about a $19 an hour. Found out about commission, and the rest was history. I went from loan officer to partner. The original owner, great family man, one of the best men I've ever known as that, but we didn't see eye to eye on how to run the business. I viewed it as I was lucky to have employees. Employees were the power and what really made a company. His view was more employees are liabilities, which it served him for years. I'm not saying his way was wrong. He had been a very successful businessman for years doing it by saying, get the most out of people. Instead of going and having 100 loan officers who all do 2 or 3 loans, get 4 or 5 and get them to do 200 loans. And but that didn't work with me. And so I was one of the dumbest people in the industry. I bought him out in January of 2006. So yeah, right before the great big crash. And but again, I don't regret anything. I wouldn't be the man I am today if he hadn't set those goals for me. If he hadn't insulated me and told me that was the norm and that's what's expected, I would have never gotten there because I grew up in meager circumstances. We were a middle-class family. If someone had told me I could have made $100,000 a year doing 3 or 4 loans a month, probably all I would have ever done, and I would have been happy. I would have never, ever reached my potential because I believe people work to what your perceived value of self-worth is where you set your own limits. And because this man set my level of net worth of worth at a much higher than what I did, by the time I found out I was worth something, it was already at that point it was muscle memory. It was something that was just going.
Okay. There is so much wisdom in what you just said that when I think about man, we are equally yoked. People will achieve what you tell them they can achieve, right? They told you do 50 on this month. You didn't know any better. Guess what the number one problem is with rookies around this country? They're told a very small number that they need to achieve, and so that's their target. And it has been proven time and time again. Tell a rookie that the standard performance their first month in the business is exponentially more than what you're telling them now, and they will achieve it.
Yeah.
So how blessed for you to get that early on.
Extremely. Again, if it had been any other way, I would have never reached those goals because I would have been completely happy making $100,000 a year because I grew up in our family. My parents didn't make that. So the greatest gift that was ever given to me was not putting I should say, they put a goal on me that was actually 100% attainable. And I still this day, there was no secret sauce to what I did. The only difference is, and I always joke about it, I was blessed with one other thing. God made me ugly, so I had to chase girls and I had to work for them. I wasn't one of these good looking guys that girls just wanted to be around. So I was used to rejection,
Oh,
right?
Eric.
I knew how to get on the phone and sell because rejection didn't bother me. The only difference between a top salesman and a lower salesman, the top salesman has a higher ability to accept rejection and move past. That's it.
Moves on. He's optimistic. Hey, I might not have gotten that one, but I'll get the next one. How proven is that? Oh my gosh. Okay, well, I got to ask one more question. And now that you're running your company, you have loan officers that are, I'm going to guess, in all three tiers, below, average, and top. What kind of expectations do you place on them?
You know, what I have found, I've tried over the years to duplicate what happened with me.
Right.
And I've never been successful. And part of that is when I say I was insulated, AmeriFirst, when I came to work here, had 15 employees and only 2 of them were salespeople. So I didn't have I couldn't go and talk to somebody at the water cooler that would tell me that I should be on commission or that, oh, you're doing great because you did 2 or 3 loans.
Gotcha.
And when you have a sizable company, not that that's anything bad, but when people go and go, oh, they congratulate you. Oh man, you did $1 million this month. That's awesome. As soon as that's been said, you've already lost the ability to tell that person that they should be doing 5, 10 million. So what I do is I try to manage to each individual's personal happiness.
Gotcha.
If a person is a completely happy person, like I have a loan officer today, I've tried pushing him. He's wonderful. Agents love him. Does about $1 million to $1.5 million a month is his average. And every time I try to push him, his response to me is, Eric, I don't want to be you. I want to leave the office at 2. I'm going to be my kid's soccer coach, their baseball coach. I'm going to be at every gymnastics meet. That's who I want to be. And you know what? He's a wonderful employee. I wish I had 100 of him. His loans are clean. They're smooth. There's never any problems or issues. He never complains. So I've had to find that I actually have to down tune and say, my job as a leader is to help people fulfill their dreams. Now, when you find that person who wants to be the next mega producer, you get all warm and fuzzy and excited and you can't wait to work with them. But those are actually the few, right? If everybody was that person, we'd all be making more money and there wouldn't be nearly as many loan officers. So my goal is, as long as they're a profitable employee, is to help them achieve whatever goals that they have for themselves in life. A leader is not always one who shows the path. It's the person who supports the dream, in my opinion. And everybody has different dreams in this world. And if you're ruling a kingdom, you need your dukes, your princes, your princesses, but you still need your jesters. You still need the people who take out the garbage and sweep the streets. You have to have them all. And if you can find a way to, whether it's your absolute top performer that feels like in a connection with you, all the way down to the lowest person in your company, as far as what they make. Your lowest earners are still important. They're still needed, and they need to be making sure that they're fulfilling their goal. My goal, I was the lowest performer when I started at AmeriFirst, and somebody set goals for me, and then my goals became bigger, and they supported me in those goals, which allowed me to. So that's really, as a leader, I view it as you find what a person wants, and you help them achieve what's important to them.
Well, congratulations on your career, getting you where you are